coming to this event the next time it's on. I'm not sure when they'll be on next, but it is a really good event to meet people who
Number 9 of 20, whose phone's gonna ring? Oh, yes! We've got a person, we've got a winner. Let's give them a round of applause.
With some accent, but now most of you think you're from Greece, so I don't have to pretend that I have an accent. I can speak Greek English, okay? And now we can continue to
the combat system, the barrier control. So it's quite a complex system.
It's really cool. Like I learned a lot from them. I also learned a lot.
Okay, and now clap your hands.
I definitely had a blast and would recommend coming to this event the next time it's on. I'm not sure when they'll be on next, but it is a really good event to meet people who
Number 9 of 20, whose phone's gonna ring? Oh, yes! We've got a person, we've got a winner. Let's give them a round of applause.
with some accent, but now most of you think you're from Greece, so I don't have to pretend that I have an accent. I can speak Greek English, okay? And now we can continue to
the combat system, the barrier control. So it's quite a complex system.
It's really cool. Like I learned a lot from them. I also learned a lot.
Okay, and now clap your hands.
I definitely had a blast and would recommend coming to this event the next time it's on. I'm not sure when they'll be on next, but it is a really good event to meet people who...
Number 9 of 20, whose phone's gonna ring? Oh, yes! We've got a person, we got winners, give them a round of applause!
With some accent, but now most of you think you're from Greece, so I don't have to pretend that I have an accent. I can speak Greek English, okay? And now we can continue to
The combat system, the barrier control, so it's quite a complex system.
It's really cool. Like I learned a lot from them. I also learned a lot.
Okay? And now, clap your hands.
I definitely had a blast and would recommend coming to this event the next time it's on. I'm not sure when they'll be on next, but it is a really good event to meet people who...
Number 9 of 20, whose phone's gonna ring? Oh, yes! We've got a person, we got winners, give them a round of applause!
with some accent, but now most of you think you're from Greece, so I don't have to pretend that I have an accent. I can speak Greek English, okay? And now we can continue to
The combat system, the barrier control, so it's quite a complex system.
It's really cool. Like I learned a lot from them. I also learned a lot.
Okay? And now, clap your hands.
I definitely had a blast and would recommend coming to this event the next time it's on. I'm not sure when they'll be on next, but it is a really good event to meet people who...
Number 9 of 20, whose phone's gonna ring? Oh, yes! We've got a person, we got winners, give them a round of applause!
with some accent, but now most of you think you're from Greece, so I don't have to pretend that I have an accent. I can speak Greek English, okay? And now we can continue to
The combat system, the barrier control, so it's quite a complex system.
It's really cool. Like I learned a lot from them. I also learned a lot.
Okay? And now, clap your hands.
definitely had a blast and would recommend coming to this event the next time it's on. I'm not sure when they'll be on next, but it is a really good event to meet people who
Number 9 of 20, whose phone's gonna ring? Oh, yes! We've got a person, we got one. Let's give them a round of applause.
With some accent, but now most of you think you're from Greece, so I don't have to pretend that I have an accent. I can speak Greek English, okay? And now we can continue to
The combat system, the barrier control. So it's quite a complex system.
It's really cool. Like I learned a lot from them. I also learned a lot from this.
Okay? And now, clap your hands.
And most importantly, why Vonage needs you as React Native developers, and how you can make some hard code. Everybody's interested, right? I guess this isn't a so a little bit about me. I am not a traditional developer. I studied philosophy, a lot of free things that I forgot a long time ago. Then I moved on to econ and then electrical engineering, bounced all around. I took philosophy way too seriously. Don't do this. Go crazy. Moved to Tel Aviv 5 years ago. Visited the camp, was incredible. Learned Ruby. You know, we have a big Ruby guy in the crowd. And then after working in the boot camp, I moved to Vonage, which is why I get to travel the world and talk about code and APIs and work with amazing developers like you. So a little bit about Vonage. I have this very cool slide in our slide deck. So what is Vonage? We started out like 30 years ago in the US. People always know us as a VoIP company. Really scary old cell phone stuff. If you wanted to call your relatives in Athens for cheap, you would buy a phone like this. And we have weird commercials, but let's skip that now. But why do you care as developers when it's Vonage? So Vonage about 5-10 years ago went on shopping spree. They were like, nobody needs VoIP anymore. But people need APIs. So they went off and they bought all these developer-focused companies, Maximo in London, Dropbox in San Francisco, OverAI in Tel Aviv, and a bunch of other ones. And today, we consolidated into a company called Vonage. And last year, we were acquired by Ericsson. And so basically, why do developers care about us? We are building APIs that help you save time and let you focus on your main product, but then allow your customers to really provide them with like a rich customer experience. And the sales talk, the marketing guy is we're a communication platform that allows developers to integrate voice, video, and messaging into their applications using our communications API. But basically, every time that you need to build into your app, texting, phone calls, WhatsApp messaging, two-factor verification, two-factor authentication. Now we have silent verification, all that good stuff, and you don't want to be one bogged down and doing the same thing that millions of people have done in the past, and two, you don't want to be liable for all the security and scaling that requires. You can use our API. So video APIs, question. Has anyone here heard of COVID? Yeah, weird thing. I still see some people here wearing masks, which brings back painful memories. So during COVID, our video API, which used to be Talkbox out of San Francisco, exploded, and the usage of the video API went up crazy big. So what is a video API? Basically, think about it as your own personalized, customizable room that you can build right inside of your application, and you can control everything that you didn't know you wanted to control. How it looks, what the positions are of your users, how many different users there are, everything that your end client might want from their video conferencing, you can call as developer. So during COVID, we had quite a lot of interested in the video API. So we started to build a lot of different solutions. We have our main video API, which I'll talk about. We started to like different levels of video API. So we have, let's see if it's the video API. We have a new API called Meetings API, which is pretty cool. It's a low-code product. So you make one request from your server, it says, create a new video room for me. And then you stick another line in your front end, and that's all you have to do. And now your users have a full video conferencing solution. But we're real devs, and we don't want to leave the solution with just 2 lines. So we have our full video API with an extra library called Video Express. And that's what our React Native SDK is built on. For this SDK just for our video API. And so with that, you get all of the fine-tuning customization as well. I'm happy to talk to anyone about that. So about the talk today, we are talking about why did we suddenly decide that we need to make our React Native SDK fully supported. It's because of devs like you. Devs who go and try and use the product and then either love it or have frustration or have the favorite thing for everybody working at a company. Hey, I have an idea for how you can make this better. So these are just some screenshots from our developer community Slack. The last couple of years we had tons of people using the React Native SDK, and we had a community supported. So what does community supported mean? I mean, people like me, I'm in the DevRel team, developer relations, along with some of my colleagues sitting back there. And so our whole job is basically we maintain the SDK and API and documentation, and we help developers like you all integrate successfully into your project. The other thing is, as a community supported SDK, we threw it out to let the community run with it. But people were really excited about it, and it needed a little bit of extra love. So what we decided to do was upgrade it to Vonage priorities support. So that might not mean anything, but basically what it means is we are now telling the people we pay, hey, if John in Seattle is getting stuck on this React Native thing, it's not just a nice thing for you to do to help him, but you have to do it as part of your job. And now we have some official team members looking after it. But I guess I'm not the only one here who remembers like what it meant to be official on Facebook. But it's kind of like we're official on Facebook with the React Native SDK. So now we have this incredible team of superheroes. I have Jeff Schwartz. They're actually not Jeff Schwartz, as you believe it. So Jeff Schwartz is this guy. He's a super senior engineer out of San Francisco, and he's now maintaining the SDK. He's making sure that it gets updated. So how does the React Native SDK work? And why was it so nice for us to pull it up? Basically, what we did was we took our iOS and our Android native SDKs, built a wrapper around it, and made it an official React Native SDK. So Jeff is maintaining that on the code. Every time that we have an iOS or an Android update, basically about a week later, Jeff is then implementing it in the React Native SDK. And then the 2 other fellows here, this is Zach Powell out of London and Abdul out of London. And Zach is our Android advocate, and Abdul is our iOS advocate, and they're providing the community support. So Jeff is making sure that the code is getting updated, and he's also in charge of all of the issues and bugs in GitHub. And then Zach and Abdul are going and helping developers whenever they need a little bit of extra love or anywhere else. So these superheroes are basically making sure that everything's up to date, working, and helping you. As you can see here, I just pulled our screenshot nation repo, and you can see it says Vonage official support. From here on out, it's official. Actually, I was looking through the issues, and so last week we did something that we've had in iOS and Android SDKs for a while. Background blur, what a crazy feature. Now it's in React Native, so like one by one, it seems really quickly. You also can see, I think it's March 31st, so it's like 2 months ago. In the last 2 months, we already started catching up on like total feature functionality. So, why does that matter to you all folks? Did anyone hear someone say something about money? Money? Do I have your attention? So if you go on the developer blog, we have amazing tutorials that will help you implement whatever Vonage product you're looking for. When I put in React Native, I saw Overclock 2020. That's not very good. Shocking, right? But we have a great program called Developer Spotlight, which will pay you $500. So basically, this is my React Native goes on tour to get people $500. I like money. You guys like money. How can you get the money? You can apply to our Developer Spotlight program here. So if you want to play around with React Native, just write a little tutorial about it. We'll pay you $500 and you get put on the blog. If you don't want the $500 to donate to charity you're choosing, we can contact you about that. We also have some other pretty sweet developer programs. Developer Spotlight. We have a startups program, which is equity-free startups program. So we post our startups manager. Can you raise your hand? He's here at the conference, so you can get a lot of free credits. You get support from the Vonage team, even if it's not just our API themselves. We'll carry somebody in the company to startup. As I mentioned, we have developer Slack, which shockingly we listen to. That's why we went official with SDK. And our developer portal has all the good stuff. If you want to take a picture, this is our form credit to get started with our APIs. It's 10 euros, that'll get you a far win. So I'll be at the conference tomorrow. And that's about it. So I'm hoping to see a lot of applications for our developer spotlight. And I have some giveaways. All right, nobody saw that, right? I didn't really think about who I'm going to give these away to. Do you have a good idea? Okay, that's a no. Okay, so whoever are the first 10 people who find me after the talk, I have very beautiful notebooks. They're really amazing. Hot off the press, we just designed them. Okay, so there's nine notebooks left. They're going fast, folks, so you're going to definitely want one. And again, we'll be there tomorrow at the conference. There's 3 other Vonage people here. Please come talk to us. And I'm giving another talk, a real talk, on Wednesday at the post-conference meetup about design systems. Front-end design system. It's all about web components, so it'll be very fun and a bit more technical. I'm gonna try to say this one. Asperos Paco.
Who's talking? Okay. Like this. That was good. So, up next we have Facundo Giuliani. So Facundo Giuliani is a developer relations engineer at Storyblok, and he, I was going to say that the same thing that seems to have drawn Facundo Giuliani to developer relations, the same thing that has drawn me to developer relations, even though I'm not a developer, but I've tried to. So it's connecting with a lot of people, web development, and of course talking a lot. So these are the 3 things that drew Facundo Giuliani to developer relations. He was a developer for 12 years, creating products and projects for different organizations and clients. But then he realized that he could do the 3 things he loved the most by developer relations engineer at Storyblok. And he spends his time engaging with the web community, speaking at events and conferences, creating and sharing content, writing articles for different websites and platforms, leading workshops, and of course, he's one of the organizers of React Buenos Aires, which is the largest community of React in Argentina. That's right. And he has been selected as a Prism Ambassador, Alt-Zero Ambassador, and Cloudinary Media Developer Expert. I didn't know what that was. I'm sure you can explain. So now I will give the stage to you, and let's bring our hands together. And once more until the screen is up. No? So how many days have you been here already? So you're still jealous?
Okay, good. Good. Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Facundo. Yes, if someone goes the class like if someone goes back in time and tells Facundo 10 years old, Facundo, and says that he was speaking with the background and about technology, I would. But we need a DeLorean for that. I wouldn't have that. So it's not going to happen. At least to send to my mother. I mean, hey mom, I'm really important. Here, I will do a quick introduction. My name is Facundo Giuliani. I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I work as a developer relations engineer at Storyblok. I will talk a little bit about Storyblok later. So we'll make the introduction later. I'm also one of the organizers of React Buenos Aires, the biggest React community in Argentina. No-Code Argentina, which is a conference not only about VueJS, but about other things related to JavaScript that we are trying to bring back. We just put in the conference for 2020, and we keep doing it, but we are trying to bring back to life the conference that we was in. Even the one that we are going to have tomorrow, I assume that we are going to double check. I'm going to do a quick introduction about the talk I was planning to present today, because it's related to internationalization, it's related to speaking different languages, consuming content. Closer. There we go. Cool. I was planning to speak about languages, something that not all the times we are considering at the moment of creating our websites or sharing content with other people, because I tried to do my best, and I was not able to learn any word in Greek. Today I tried to say thank you to the Uber driver, and it was complicated. Really sorry. I should say that to any person that I'm saying, okay, I will try to. But at the same time, I'm speaking a language now that is not the language that I speak in my country. I'm a Spanish speaker. But we are trying to find a middle point, let's say. And not always is what we want. I mean, sometimes we want to direct the content that we're creating to a certain audience, let's say. We are speaking of the world of 5.07 million people that is using internet in different ways. 25%, the 25.9% of that people consume content in English, which means, I mean, sorry, 25.9% of the content that is consumed in internet is in English, which means that we have a 74.1% of content that is in other languages that we need to somehow manage, and even more if we want to target to different markets or different audiences. Let's say that I want to create a website at home in Buenos Aires, and I start doing it in Spanish, but then I want people from Athens to go and see the content that I created, and I want to direct the content somehow in a personalized way to audience. So something that I need to consider is that the different languages that I will need to manage for the content that I'm creating. And that's basically the main topic that I wanted to cover today. Because when we talk about these ideas or this topic, we are referring to this called internationalization, which is basically preparing the setup of our website project in a way that can be consumed by people with different locales or different languages, let's say. Internationalization probably sounds something related to translations, but we can also mention localization, which is a very similar concept, sometimes used for the same, sometimes used for different ideas. What we are basically doing, we implement internationalization or localization in our project, is trying to target the content to certain languages or certain regions or certain countries, even customizing the content in a way that we are referring to a certain group of people. It can be, again, different languages, but also can be different regions. For instance, I can have different versions of the content that I'm creating and delivering on my website for a particular country that has more than one official language, or in the other way around, I can have content for a country where the different states or provinces manages or use the same language, but I want to refer to different areas or regions of the country with different content formats. So to do that, we need to implement what is called internationalization or localization. There are different ways that we can determine or one of the ways is using the IP address of the person that is we need to consider other things at that moment because, address is something that we can evaluate where it is coming from, but not 100% accurate. Another example is using the header as a language parameter that is sent whenever a request is coming to a website or a web server, let's say, with the navigator languages parameters, something that we can consider, but again, probably what we can do with that is setting or identifying only the language and not the region or certain other parameter that we want to consider at the moment of delivering the content we want to deliver. And finally, we can do something which is probably not that automatic, but something that we can use for those purposes, which is adding an identifier on the URL that the person is visiting. So I will focus on this last use case because we have different ways of managing that. One way to know which kind of content the user wants to see is using different domains for a website. We can have a website with different domains, which means that every domain will refer to a particular language or a particular region again. What is the problem with this approach? The problem is that every visitor or every user will visit the statistics that we are going to get or the search engine optimization that we can implement to a website or project is going to be considered different. So we are using different websites, right? So if I visit hello.com, it's not the same as if I visit hello.es, which is the domain for websites from Spain. And at the moment of monitoring the statistics related to my website, probably I'm going to get wrong numbers, not the numbers that I would like to get. Another approach that we can take is adding parameters, URL parameters to the website, which probably gets a little messy depending on the different pages that we are visiting. So finally, another approach that we can take are subdirectories on the URL that we are confirming or that we are visiting. So we can set that a part of the root of the website that we are visiting is going to set the language that I want to know or the locale that I want to use or the content that I'm going to distribute or deliver to the user. And with this approach in mind, I was planning to use a framework to create a demo that I will show you later. But basically, I'm saying more focused on React-based framework lately. I've been using Remix. I don't know if you have heard about Remix. It's a framework that is evolving a lot and changing a lot, but also it's introducing the possibility to use React components on our website, but also create and manage the server logic of the pages and websites that we are creating in a way that we can render content on the server side and deliver that directly to the client side or the users that are visiting our website. I've been involved in development a few years from today, and this framework kind of reminded me of the times where we used to do everything on the server, and that's probably the community that I'm getting with Remix, and one of the reasons which probably I'm using the framework or I want to give the framework a chance. But I will show you a little example later to see how to implement a quick example on translating content with Remix. And I used Remix also because, well, you will see the code of the simple project that I created, and you will see how easy it is to set up a whole website that no matter how many pages I want to create, I can translate all of them and manage everything with the same code base. With Remix in particular, we can implement internationalizations with two approaches, I would say. One is a library that is called Remix A18 Next, which is based on I18 Next, which is the language, the name of another language management library that is used for JavaScript. Well, this one that I'm not going to repeat the name again is based specifically for Remix. It was created by the community user and it's maintained by the community for Remix in particular. And basically, the approach that the library uses is to manage different files where we will manage the different translations for the different messages that we are going to show on our website of the different parts of our project. And another approach is using a content management system in the case that we want to give the users that are creating the content the possibility of managing the translations. I'm a developer relations engineer at Storyblok, and Storyblok is a content management system. So I thought on using Storyblok as the platform to manage the content and the translations on the example that I created. To give you a quick introduction about Storyblok, it's a headless content management system. We call it headless because you can create the content and consume that content from any content created with any framework or any technology. You can create your content once, and you can use it for different channels like websites, mobile applications, desktop applications, and you can pick the framework or the technology that you prefer to expose and use that content. So based on that approach, that headless approach that Storyblok offers, and the idea that I had, which was using Remix, I consider that it's a good fit, and you will see and you will tell me if you consider the same. But I'm going to show you a quick demo. I'm trying to do that on the same screen. Yeah, but super small, right? Okay, cool. So this super ugly website is an example that I wanted to show you on how to translate content. If you, I don't think you see the URL, but basically, well, this is running locally on my computer, and this will be like the home page of my website. I'm showing some generic content or text in English, and then I want to show the same content in Spanish and French. So I have two links, and I click on them. For example, the Spanish one, you will see the same content, but well, I didn't translate the feature part. but you can see the title translated to Spanish. And if I go to the same one in French, you will see that the same is going to happen. That's all my website, which is thank you. If I show this to my boss, I probably would be fired. But I mean, the idea was to show a quick example on how to make it work. And to use this, to create this content, I use what I mentioned before, Storyblok. To show you Storyblok, this is the user interface. Storyblok, basically what we can do is create content and manage that content. And we have also a visual editor where we can see how that content is going to look like. In this example, you can see that I have a home item. That home item will be my generic web page, the one that we saw. And then we have two folders, one for the Spanish and one for the French. For those folders, we can set a Slack or a URL that we can use to identify those folders and all the content that is inside those folders. And if I enter to them, you will see that I have pages, which in this case is called the inicio, which is in Spanish. Leave me, I mean, it's my native language. And well, in the French, we have the same. I took some French classes, and I think that this is pretty accurate. If someone else speaks French, probably can correct me. But this was the idea that come to my mind when I tried to create the homepage. And well, this content that we created here, as you can see, if I enter, for instance, to the home item, we have all the content that we are showing on that page. Inside, we have on the left-hand side this visual editor that is showing the page that we created and how it is going to look like. And on the right-hand side, we have the content that we are managing for that page, and we have the possibility of changing that content and then seeing in real time how the content is going to look like. But that's a different thing. We can discuss about that and different features about Storyblok later. What I wanted to show you is the content that we are managing. I mean, this is the generic homepage, but if you want to see, if you see here, we have dimensions, which means these dimensions that we are managing are each one of the different folders that I have at the root of my space or project. And the idea is that we are, I mean, this is FR or ES, is the part of the URL or the Slack, it's called, that we are going to use to identify which language we are visiting, which means that we can create different items inside of each one of these folders, and we can link somehow all those items in a way that we can say that those items are the translation or the alternate version of the ones that we have at the root of the page or the project. Here we have the home item again, which is the generic version, and then we can have one folder for each one of the languages that we are going to manage, and inside each one of these folders, we're going to have the alternate versions of each one of those pages that we have in our generic version or main version. The idea is that we can link these versions and mark as alternate versions that we are going to use, and again, keep the synchronization of all the translations that we are going to do, manage the content for each one of the languages in a different way. Let's suppose that we have pages that we are going to show in some languages and not in other ones. We can create the pages inside those folders and not in the folders that we are going to manage. We have all that flexibility at the moment of creating and managing the content that we are providing to the users. I mean, it's not that the developers will have to come here and create each one of the pages or create the content for each one of them. We just say to the users, hey, please create the content that you want to create, and the translators that are going to do all the work can come back to the Storyblok and do the work directly there. All this content that we are creating in Storyblok is going to be managed from the content of our application, which is is it okay there or too small? Okay. So I wanted to quickly show you the main parts, let's say, of the Remix project that is connecting to this Storyblok repository. I'm not sure how familiar you are with Remix. I mean, has like a standard folder structure. This is the one that you can see on the left-hand side. You can create any boilerplate or the standard project using the Remix starter, and you will see that the folder structure that we have here is exactly the same. Basically, we have a root route, let's say, that is going to be the starting point of our application. So here we can set all the configuration that is going to be executed at the starting point of the project. In this point, I'm importing a Storyblok init function and an API plugin that Storyblok SDK provides. Storyblok React SDK in this case, because this is a Remix project and Remix is based on React. Storyblok has different SDKs for different frameworks in the case that we want to take a look. And basically, we are setting all the components that we are going to use on the pages that we are going to create and manage for our content, because these components, what we are going to do with Storyblok, and again, we can see that later and discuss that later in more details. Storyblok is going to, the Storyblok SDK is going to automatically render the content based on the components that we are setting on the content repository or the content management system, and the SDK will identify which type of component we have to render on each one of the pages. You will see that the code of the application itself is very simple and very generic, because all this work is being done by the Storyblok SDK that is based on the components and the style, the format, and the logic that we are setting for the components that we are going to use on our project. So in this root file, we have this Storyblok init function, which is again the function that is going to initialize the connection between Storyblok and our project. We are sending a few parameters, an access token to connect to the specific screen. Technical issues. Great, we're back. So, as I was saying, we have a Storyblok init function, which is going to be the one that initializes the connection between Storyblok, the content repository, and our project. We are sending a few parameters that we need to connect to the Storyblok repository, which are the access token to know which project we want to connect to. We have to include this API plugin because we are going to use an API client to connect to Storyblok and bring all the content. And then the list of components that we want Storyblok to automatically manage, which is, in this case, if you see the list of components, we are linking a list of names of components that we are managing on the repository or the content management system. And for each one of those components, we are going to link which React component we want to render on the content of our application. If you see here, we have a feature component, a grid component, a link component, or a teaser, and all these words, we are linking them to React components that we are managing. In this case, in the components folder of my project, we have all of them here. We have different React components for each one of the components that we are going to manage, and we are using the different properties of those components. To show you an example, we have the feature component here that is receiving a block as a parameter. In this case, this is going to come from the Storyblok API. And we are using the different properties of that block. In this case, the name. We have the same idea with the teaser. We are using a headline property. The idea is that we set and we create the content on the management, on the content management system, which is a Storyblok. We define the different values for the different properties of those blocks, and then we use those properties in the front end of our application to render them in the way that we prefer. In this case, again, as you saw, the website was very ugly because I didn't use any CSS or any styling or formatting, and that's because if you see here, the HTML markup that I'm rendering is very generic with any style or anything, but I could use CSS to give this style or to render the content in the way that I prefer. I want to go back to Storyblok because I wanted to show you that if I go to the home page, for instance, you will see that here I have the components that I was mentioning. I have a teaser, I have a grid. If I open the teaser component, you can see that here we have the headline property. That is the one that I'm using in the front end of the application to render the content that the users are creating and setting here inside the content management system. So basically, we are setting something that is useful for the end user, for the editors to create the content and manage the content by themselves. And on the other hand, we are giving the flexibility to the developers to set the way that they want to use to display that content with the logic that they prefer, with the content that they prefer, etc. Finally, I wanted to show you this. This is the Remix project. If I will go to the app folder and I go to the route folder, you will see that here I have some kind of a generic route handler, which is called flat route in Remix. Basically, what this is going to do with this generic name is catching all the requests that are coming to my website that follow that line chart, let's say. In this case, I put that at the root of my project, which means that this is going to handle any request that is coming to any route of my project. Which means that I'm going to use this exact same logic for any page that we want to render for the users. I don't want to stop a lot here. I just wanted to show you the main parts probably. The cool thing about Remix is that, I mentioned before, is that we can set the server logic for the pages or the content or the website that we are creating, and then the client-side logic. In this case, the server-side logic is we can execute it with a loader function. That's how they are called. And basically, what we are saying is that we are going to execute this part of the code on the server side. We are getting the flag or the URL that the user is visiting. Based on that URL, well, I'm setting certain parameters that I'm going to share with, that I'm going to send to the Storyblok API. And if you see here, I'm getting the Storyblok API because I'm initializing a Storyblok API client to call the Storyblok API and say, hey, Storyblok API, please get me all the information on all the content created for this particular URL, which is the slide that we get. The Storyblok API client is going to return a JSON object with all the content and all the information that was created and managed inside the content management system by the users. And we are going to use that JSON structure on the rendering part of my route, which is on the client side in this case, because I'm using the React components. And basically what we are going to return is the main layout that I created for my website. In this case, well, we are getting this use loader data because we want to use the data that was loaded by the loader function. I'm getting this story, which is the item on the whole page with all the information related to the whole page. And then when I have all the content related to the whole page, I'm going to use this Storyblok component, React component, which is going to render the specific components that are inside my page. So no matter which component types I use in Storyblok to create the different pages, what fields did I for those components, what information I'm setting for those fields, this generic component or main component from Storyblok is going to render a specific content based on, again, the content that is coming from the Storyblok API and the logic that we set for the different React components and the styling and the formatting that we want to set for the front end of our application. And that's it, basically. I mean, this is going to work for any page that I create. If I go to Storyblok and I create a new page, I will set the URL for that page, and it's going to be captured by this generic route. If I'm using the same component types that I already created and I'm managing in the Storyblok project, this is going to work. If I want to add a new component type because I want to add a new structure of content that I want to use in my pages, I can go to Storyblok and create that component type, and then I can create the React component that is going to link to that component type, so I can handle all the instances of that component in all the pages that I'm going to manage for my website. And this is like, again, a project that, in this case, probably you can see that in the code of the Remix project, I'm not referring to anything related to the languages, because this is going to be managed in this part, in this line. If I'm setting that, if I'm appending the language or the locale that I want to use for each one of the languages that I'm going to manage on my project, that's going to affect or set the URL that I'm visiting. So as each one of the languages or each one of the versions of the pages is going to be managed as a different item or a different story, then I'm going to retrieve them as the content of different pages that I'm visiting or that I'm using for my project. Cool. So that was like a small demo that I wanted to create to show you how to manage content in different languages for a project. I use Remix, but again, you can use the framework that you prefer, the technology that you prefer, and you can use the ways that you prefer to manage the content for the different languages. Using content management system is just an example of that. But I invite you to give it a chance and to see what's the best way for you to manage the content in different languages or the audience that you want to target. So thank you very much. Gracias is in Spanish. I just you the new version, but again, I will learn so thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. The Greek version, by the way, if you want to give it a try now, is Efkaristo.
Efkaristo.
Wow, you nailed it! Yes, of course. So this concludes the talks of today, but it doesn't conclude the meetup. Let's also put our hands together for the two communities, developer communities from Athens that co-organized this meetup, the VueJS Athens community and of course the Angular Athens community. And now we have pizzas and soft drinks, and let's all just talk together and discuss what's going on today. And of course, see you tomorrow at the conference. I think Aris wants to say something.
I'm going to give away 2 tickets. Who hasn't got the ticket? Okay, so it's like the last minute kind of thing. So we have the speaker who's going to do. Is he ready? Not really?
They have pizza, and then like while you're
pizza before they get cold. And then we come back and we do like a little competition and people can be lucky and come tomorrow. Have you all got tickets? Okay, that's a good thing. So the ones in the room, maybe we can try a luck. It's random. And you don't have? It will. Fiddleman was a great topic, right? So it's not going to be a competition because we already have the 2 winners. So you don't need to do it. Okay, let's do one little people. You come up. Right? You said, come on. You have no behind you. You said you raised your hand, didn't you? Are you good, Tom? Why are you not sure? What are you going to do? What is the best thing? Okay, you will come. If you don't come, I will come and pick you up. Okay, he's coming. Okay, so we have to do it. So you can have pizza now. Okay, thank you. Come.